Coutinho, where did you get this £2,000 figure from? Because it's not an impartial, independent figure, is it? It's your own Tories who've added this up and come up with the sums.
It is a figure which has come up by Treasury officials. So those are independent, impartial civil servants. And what they've done is very simple. They've added up the costs of the policies that the Labour Party have said that they want to put in place in the next Parliament. And the figure that comes out with is an extra £2,000 of taxes for working families. And the reason that I think Keir Starmer couldn't simply say, no, I'm not doing that, for many, many times he was challenged on this question, is because it's true.
I mean, Victoria, you put rubbish in, you get rubbish out, and that's what this is.
That's independent civil servants in the Treasury.
I'm going to pull you up on that, Claire Coutinho. I'm going to pull you up on that. They're not independent, they're not impartial. Calculations have been made by Tory special advisors, they're political appointees, and hang on, and that is misleading to voters and therefore very disrespectful.
So can I just say, those numbers are created by the Treasury, and there's very strict rules.
The Treasury is controlled by you. You are the government.
Yeah, hang on. Those are created by the organisation that we run. It's independent. What the fuck are you talking about? The Treasury is not some sort of non-partisan arbiter of truth. It's a fucking organ of government. The level of nonsense this government comes out with, they'll just say the most absurd shit. And it doesn't get challenged most of the time. Vicky D, for once, Victoria Derbyshire is actually going in on it, and rightly so.
True.
Basic journalism for the win. Woo.
Journalism a lot, Bell. Woo woo.
If you think that the Treasury would just add up anything that Tory special advisors gave them, no matter what it was, and come out with a figure, which is back.
100%, absolutely, they absolutely would do that. Thank you very much for asking me that question. I 100% believe they would.
Is this the same organisation that said that Liz Truss's changes were going to be awesome and revolutionise the country and make us the economic powerhouse of the world?
To be fair to them, Kev, Liz Truss's plans were so dumb. They didn't even get reports from the Treasury or the Office of Budget Responsibility. That's how stupid they were.
By the Treasury, then you're sorely mistaken.
Okay, well, let me go back to Liz Kendall.
Like I said, is an assessment created by the Treasury.
Labour are no better, are they, Liz Kendall? Because you're claiming the Tories are going to cut national insurance and inheritance tax when they've promised no such thing.
On the 7th of May, in Treasury questions, Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor...
Oh, this is rubbish.
...said... But it is our policy to abolish national insurance contributions. He said, you look up in Hansard, the fantastic service that we get that puts everything that's said in Parliament on the record. It is our...
To be fair, there's slightly more credence to that claim if you're going to do they might not say it, but this is what they're planning to do secretly line of argumentation, which is fine because I think that they've said that is their aspiration, right? Whatever. But Keir Starmer came out and said that it was their policy right now, which isn't actually true.
I mean, again, it's quite stupid to have all of these debates before a manifesto's been released. Otherwise, it's just arbitrary based on what hearsay and things that people said and maybe some policy documentation. Until you actually have a manifesto release, which is next week, I believe, this debate seems pretty pointless because you can't really hold people to your scrutiny until you actually see what the figures look like. And because they've allowed it to happen now, Rishi Sunak's been able to make up these bonkers nonsense figures out of nowhere with the help of politically appointed people from the Treasury, and we're having a conversation about something that's based on fucking lies.
Yeah, it is the one advantage, I guess, of having a debate prior to a manifesto launch is to see the difference between the nonsense they've come up with in the initial debate and whatever gets published next week. Is that something? But again, that's just for nerds like me and you who would even notice that discrepancy.
Our policy. And national insurance helps fund people's pensions and the NHS. And you, Victoria, if we'd said, this is our policy, you'd say to us, where's the 46 billion coming from? I mean, he has said it time and you know what? They can't have it both ways. We have seen the highest tax rate for 70 years in this country. Now they're talking about 46 billion pounds, at least, of unfunded spending on national insurance. And I think it's right we hold them to account for what Jeremy Hunt has said.
Liz Kendall, they have not promised to do that. Claire Coutinho, do come in for 1 second. Go.
To be fair, she's torched both of them. This is
Absolutely. Yeah.
impartial BBC journalism for once.
Yeah, as well
okay?
she should. As well she should torch both of them. They're both chatting absolute fucking shit. They're both talking shit. It's all rhetoric. It's all figures they've plucked out of thin air for promises that haven't been made by either party in this, what is quite frankly a really dirty election, because they know that neither of them are running on any real policy. So you have to make up the other people's policies because both of them are fucking scared of actually presenting the country with a real bloody choice, which is why everybody feels so completely disillusioned with politics and has allowed space for people like Nigel Farage to want to seize on the anti-Westminster sentiment. Again, I said on Curtis's stream on Monday, and I will say it again right now, that we on the left need to be the people who are going to be there to provide something that is outside of the realm of the fucking gruel that's being served up by Westminster. We need to be the radicals. We need to be the populists, because otherwise real monsters from the far right are going to fill that gap.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yes, sorry, I just think it's really important to say that every single Labour MP, including Liz, stood on a manifesto in 2019 to raise taxes to the highest ever level. And that was before we had a pandemic.
changed the
and that
party
was
from then,
before we
thank
had
goodness.
inflation. Well, I mean, you were
Oh my
happy to
God.
support
Oh
it in
no.
2019.
Whoa. I can't believe in 2019 the Labour Party offered something different from 45 years of neoliberal shit. And that was really good as far as I'm concerned. And they're going like, no, nothing different. We promise you we've changed the Labour Party so that we're identical to the Tories now. You can't use this attack line. God, I hate the politics of this country.
And that was before we had a global pandemic and a global inflation crisis. So yes, we took really difficult choices.
Right.
And yes, we spent a lot of money to protect livelihoods and jobs and
on the
people.
subject of
but now
difficult
there's a very
choices.
clear choice. We are bringing taxes down and they're increasing them.
And I'm going to pull you up on that. The tax burden is going up. It's going up under the Tories. It will continue to go up in the next Parliament. I want to...
Personal taxation, we set out very clear.
She's just like, after everything they say, no, that's bollocks. Here's the truth. Next question.
Yeah, the tax burden's going up. Today it's at 36.1% of GDP. It's going up to 37.1% of GDP by 28-29. So let me ask both of you, quick,
Absolutely scorched. There's nothing you can do.
National insurance, okay.
quick, straight question. I'm assuming you both believe voters deserve honesty, yes?
No. No. Who's going to say no there?
Look at it like the really slow nod. It's just like they know that they know that they're bullshitting.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it out loud if you want, if you actually believe.
But why? What the fuck is this? This is... She's just flexing on them now. She's just like, I've absolutely killed both of you, so now I'm just going to play with you like a cat with a half-dead mouse. Do you dickheads believe in truth? No? What?
Neither of your bosses appear to want to talk about the real trade-offs that are coming after this election, irrespective of who wins. I'm quoting Paul Johnson here from the Institute for Fiscal Studies. And this is what he said at the weekend. 10 days in, and there's no hint of openness about the real choices the winners of this election will face. It's completely obvious. Either they will junk their promises on getting debt down, or they'll cut spending, or they'll raise taxes. We deserve some honesty. So you've got a chance to be honest with Newsnight viewers tonight.
Yeah.
What is it going to be, Claire Coutinho?
So I think the really important thing is if you want to fund public services, and we've said that spending will increase, is you need to have a strong economy. And when you look at Labour's energy plans,
I'm going to
which
stop you
return
there because that wasn't the
billions
question.
of pounds of
I'm
investment.
so sorry.
Literally.
This is a murder. We're watching
Oh
an
my God.
actual execution.
Call the police. Je telephone la police.
This is...
It's true, because
wow.
again, she's right. So they're not answering the question. And again, both parties just doing this dance where they go, well, if you want to fund public services, we need to grow the economy. How are you going to do that? Press the big red grow the economy button. I'm losing my mind. I want to be able
honestly, I love the vibes here. It reminds me of when Richard Madeley had I forget which government minister it was. It doesn't even matter. Basically saying, just cutting the interview off halfway through. If you're not going to talk, if you're not going to answer my questions, we'll just leave it there then and cut him off.
Yeah, literally. Or like when Krishna Guru Murthy was interviewing David Mensa and cut him off and saying, I'm not going to let you do the propaganda bit.
Yeah. Like, I think even the journalists are getting sick of this shit now. Like,
Absolutely, as well they should be. The public is sick of this shit. It's to me. I mean, like obviously we're laughing at how funny this interview is, but let's be serious for a minute. It really does cheapen. It denigrates the democracy of this country that these people won't answer fucking questions. There's a clip from Question Time in 2010 from a lady in the Question Time audience, and she just says straight up to the panelists and just say, do you just think that we're all ignorant and that we don't think that we're worth answering? We have a right to have our questions answered.
I just wonder whether you think we're all ignorant and whether you really think that little of us, that you just can't answer questions. We have a right to have questions answered. We saw it tonight. Teflon Dave, nothing sticks. He doesn't actually answer anything despite constant questions. Ed Balls, you're just as bad. You constantly say, I hear you, but, or however. Just answer the questions, because you're just making a mockery of the whole system.
What about
we've asked directly, where's the rest of this money coming from? Will you have an increase in VAT? And you can't get a straight answer. It's as though you're treating us like we're ignorant. And you work for us. We pay for you. You're here to represent us.
Damn fucking straight. Liz Kendall swatting off with £80,000 a year of the taxpayers' bills, and I'm just like, you at the very least do your fucking job and answer questions and be honest and give us a real policy to vote for, rather than pretending that there's this mythical growing the economy that you can pluck out of the fucking ether without having a real plan to deliver it. Likewise with Claire Coutinho. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely fucking sick of it on everybody's account, apart from the small minor parties who actually seem to want to be truthful. The things that they believe, at least the SNP, they may piss people off by only caring about independence, for example, or having it at the forefront, but at least they believe in something. At least they fully come up and say, this is what we believe, this is what we're committing to, these are real concrete policies we want to deliver come the next election.
Exactly. If you vote for the SNP, you know what you're actually voting for. There's an option
100%.
You're voting for, they will try and implement that. That's what it should fucking be. That shouldn't be an aberration from the norm.
Exactly, 100%. And somebody's pointed out in chat, I mean, apart from Victoria Derbyshire, we don't have the journalists of the Paxman era. Yeah. There's when is the next time we're going to get a did you threaten to overrule him moment? It's not going to happen. Because these these absolutely supine, completely cucked, lobby journalists who only care about access refuse to hold our politicians to account, because they've all been to the same schools, they all went to the same universities, they all end up drinking together cocktails at the Spectator Garden Party, and they don't want to lose out on the gossip that they get first access to be able to be the first person to break the story, to be able to pay their shareholders. They're not there to hold power to account. They're there to be fucking foils for our political class. It's fucking pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
I'm glad. They're not there to hold the people's feet to the fire or hold them accountable. They're there to be essentially propaganda dissemination tools.
It's not even necessarily propaganda. It's a choreographed dance. I don't think they really care whether or not that it's being propaganda or whether it isn't. As long as they get the ratings, as long as the Westminster psychodrama continues, and the interest.
Client journalism. That's the ones I'm really referring to.
There
are plenty of just useless journalists, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's fair. I mean, they're all useless, but all for different reasons. Because there are plenty of client journalists who are literally just there to report what their party of choice wants them to report. They don't have a single scrutiny,
and they don't even get a safe seat at the end of it.
No, like Sebastian Payne, exactly. Right? They don't actually subject anybody to any scrutiny. They're just there to parrot lines. But even the people who are ostensibly there to provide scrutiny, the Sophie Ridges of this world, for example, they don't even do that, because the scrutiny on the things that actually matter, like for example whether or not they're being actually serious, actually honest with the public about the state of what kind of fiscal policy that they're actually proposing for the country. They're too busy talking about whether or not this thing was happening behind closed doors in Westminster, which nobody should necessarily have to care about, but we're made to care about it because people who went to private school care about it. It's pathetic. It's stenography. Stenography is exactly what it is, Rohak. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. We're going to go back 20 seconds because I do want to get the full power of the. No, I'm just going to stop you. You're talking shit.
So run that one back. Just give us a rewind, Craig David style.
You've got a chance to be honest with Newsnight viewers tonight. What is it going to be, Claire Coutinho?
So I think the really important thing is if you want to fund public services, and we've said that spending will increase, is you need to have a strong economy. And when you look at Labour's energy
So
plans,
I'm going to stop you there because that wasn't the
billions
question.
of pounds of
I'm
investment.
so sorry. Because we're short of
No,
time.
but I think this is really important. You
No,
can't
I'm sure you do.
separate the economy for public
I'm sure you
services.
do.
want
We're
to
short
I'll
of
give it a
time.
go, Victoria. I'll give it a go.
So let me run through the options
We've set
again.
out where we will raise taxes.
Let me run through the options
Once
again.
again.
Oh God, this is sexy. Honestly, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We've set out where we will raise taxes on non-DOMs, private schools to fund our public services. But the one thing we haven't talked about here is reform, because I think we can get more from existing funding in the NHS and in my area on work, because I think we could do so much more to get people into work.
When she said reform, I thought she meant the party. I was like, what?
But it's the same thing. This is exactly what David Cameron banged on about for 6 years when he was Prime Minister. We're going to make public services more efficient so they have the same level of service delivery, but we spend less money on it. That's it's not real austerity. It's fake austerity because we're not going to reduce service delivery. Did they find those efficiency savings that they could maintain service delivery with? Of course they fucking didn't. The NHS was already incredibly efficient. It was one of the most efficient health services in the world, especially whilst being underfunded by the Conservative government. What did we get? A reduction in service provision. So what Liz Kendall is basically saying here, unless she can somehow be better at finding these inefficiencies that don't exist in our public services, she's promising to be identical to David Cameron and just cut service provision, or at the very least keep service provision as bad as it is currently. And that's the answer that she's giving here.
Yeah, it's basically austerity. She's just offering us more austerity.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to come back to what Paul Johnson said. He's the expert.
The benefits bill.
He knows more than me. He knows, with respect, more than you two in terms of the
Reform
finances.
of the public services is a vital part. I don't always believe money is the answer. Investment is crucial, but it's not the whole answer. Reform of our public services too, to root out waste and inefficiency and deliver better services to patients and parents and the public. That's a key part of our plan too.
We've also set out similar
Okay,
proposals.
right.
I think the question here is what are the
Pause. At the very least, right, I know I rag on Liz Kendall because I hate 4% Liz with like a burning passion. I really despise her. But I'll give her dues. At least she said, well, we do want to have some amount of additional tax revenue. We do want to put VAT on private schools. There is going to be a windfall tax on oil and gas, and there's going to be like a tiny amount, like a minuscule amount of extra non-dom taxing they're going to get. Right, fair enough. That's still going to leave us with austerity budgets. That's still going to leave us with the stripped away public services that Jeremy Hunt is going to leave them.
Yeah.
That's not going to be enough. But at least she did answer somewhat the question that there was going to be some necessary increases in the tax base in this country. Whereas obviously Claire Coutinho is just running with the big red grow the economy button type thing. We need a strong economy. Except they don't even tell us what the strong economy will entail. At least Labour will say we have this green energy plan to be able to create new jobs. How that's going to work, wait and see, open the mystery box. Claire Coutinho just says Tories good economy thing. We do good economy. We are good economy party. I'm like, well, clearly you aren't. Look at Liz Truss. Look at George Osborne. The worst people ever to run our economy. Like, no, you can't just rely on the fact that you wear a blue rosette as your method to grandstand about future economic growth that you can't predict.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're quite right.
differences between us. And the differences are, we have said very clearly, yes, we do want to prioritise cutting taxes on working families because we know the cost of living has been hard and we want to put more money back in people's pockets. And we've been very clear and very honest about that. And actually what we saw in the debate was whether it was the tax on people's pensions or the £2,000 tax on working families, Labour are not being honest with people on the costs that they are going to.
I think your viewers want to hear about what's going to change and a positive programme for the future. And I think Keir Starmer nailed it on.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. They do want to hear that. And you're not going to offer that.
And also, why aren't you mentioning the fact that the pension tax is the Tory plan, which they're taking their own voters out of because of taxes they chose to do? Why are you not pushing back? Why are two people not pushing back on this from the Labour Party? What the hell is going on?
Their comms team really do have to fucking get around and say, look, guys, we do have to push back on this. Because if it's 6 weeks of this actually will hurt their
yeah, absolutely.
majority.
Because they're almost winning amongst like over 65s, which they never ever usually do. And this will massively tank them down amongst this demographic. Someone who's really, really kind of volatile to tax and spend policies changing how they vote. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership. It's just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.